Recently, very recently, Predator was discussed and endorsed on this program, and I figured, well, may as well include Predator 2, right? Right. So, this one has an odd reputation. Long seen, I think, as an unworthy sequel to a beloved original, a sacrilegious film which had the audacity to take place in a city instead of a jungle. Plus, I mean, this film is pretty fucking tasteless, right? Lots of ridiculous stereotyping takes place in this film. It's not a film which I would ever proudly screen in any context as a result. Now, that being said, I do really like this film. I kind of revere this film as a piece of action comic book fluff, some highly 90s, extremely edgy, violent, explosive, adolescent bravura. As someone who loves the Predator mythos, this is far and away the best of the films to explore the lore, adding to the story and featuring the most Predator content of any of the four theatrical Predator releases. Credit, and some interest, that this film was directed and shot by two Australians, Stephen Hopkins and Peter Levy. It has an extremely exaggerated, hyper-real, quasi-psychedelic, bad trip vibe about it, which somehow feels extremely crazy Australian. I feel as though if Australians had a Predator 2 budget for our own industry and composed our own sci-fi action horror romp in 1990, it could have resembled Predator 2 in its artistic emphasis on coolness and figures which could be molded into action figures, things like that. A crazy Australian take on Hollywood action films, that is one way to interpret Predator 2, for better or for worse. I consider comparing Predator 2 to the first film, and in some respects I like it more. Predator has so much going for it outside of being a Predator film, whereas Predator 2 feels specifically like an adaptation of the Dark Horse comics take on the Predator mythos. Not that it necessarily was, obviously, although the first Dark Horse miniseries preceded Predator 2's release, although not its production. I happen to really love the Dark Horse take on Predator, and Alien for that matter, and so I just eat up Predator 2. I love it to bits. I adore the effects more than anything else, and I really do think it is quite a well directed and photographed film. I might make the distinction of this film perhaps having inferior direction to the first film. Some of this film's understanding of space or trying to add space to limited sets is somewhat inadequate, although it might have superior cinematography. In fact, almost definitely. Actually, Donald McAlpine, also an Australian, was cinematographer on the first film. Nevertheless, Predator 2 has a much more sophisticated and technical cinematography. The meat locker sequence is an extraordinary piece of photography, and just generally, I love the heat wave atmosphere, I love the nighttime metropolitan stickiness, and I love the lights with which the Predator can be filmed in. A city offers a lot more visual variety than a sunny or too dark at night jungle. So the point is, I really love Predator 2. It reminds me of being 14 years old. You know, the greatest video game of all time may be, or may as well be, that Alien vs Predator arcade beat 'em up. Too good, too good. Very violent, very adolescent, lots of tremendous physical, practical effects, lots of Predator action. I can't help but love this tasteless horror.